Around the world, women have been conspicuous in their absence in policy and decision-making in government. In Kenya, women comprise over half the population, but their representation is low in the social, political, and economic spheres. However, women have developed strategies to rectify the imbalance. Many have walked the path diligently and with unparalleled commitment, such as law, media, and academia. Their diligence and unrelenting struggle is reflected in women leaders' efforts in organizing seminars, workshops, education tours, and public workshops to educate women on their rights. Movements such as Maendeleo ya Wanawake, Federation of Women Lawyers, Association of African Women Research and Development, African Women Communication and Development Network, among others, have been at the forefront in raising women's interests to the highest levels of leadership. They have also provided platforms for women to express their desires, needs, and concerns, as well as develop structures, values, and a form of resistant ideology to push their agenda. In this series, we focus on Alice Yano, Dr. Eda Gashukia, Honorable Phoebe Asio, and Dr. Ida Odinga, who have fought and negotiated for women's agenda. Alice Yano is a lawyer, member of the Federation of Women Lawyers, former commissioner at the now defunct Constitution of Kenya Review Commission, CKRC. She joined the women's movement through the Maendeleo ya Wanawake to offer pro bono services to women who could not raise legal fees. She was recommended to become commissioner of Rift Valley at the CKRC by Maendeleo ya Wanawake, a position which she won amidst gender-based opposition.
Maendeleo ya Wanawake, which was strong in those very particular days, came looking for me and asked me if I could join them in terms of doing legal services for them, in terms of advising them on issues women. And that is where my point of women representation, that is where my mind turned and said, yes, it is me who can be able to assist our women. That is way back in 1996, and I'm not tired working for women. Thereafter, around 1999, when they called for commissioners, people to apply to be commissioners to do the Constitution of Kenya, I was one of the first applicants, and I was recommended by Maendeleo ya Wanawake organization. And from North Rift branch, we had a very strong woman then called Professor Margaret Kamar. And she told me, yes, Alice, you can be able to stand with us and work with us. And I applied. I came for the interview. Nothing to say that at that particular time, issues gender were very particular. And a woman applying to be a commissioner to do a constitution was almost unheard of. And the first thing that I had issues touching on gender and it became personal was when I was personally told off. I was told, you woman, you cannot represent Rift Valley to do a constitution. Politicians stood up against me. And I did not relent. I said, since I've known by virtue of practicing the women, what the women go through, let me try my hardest best. And Wamboy, I want you to laugh. Because at one particular time, after I had done a very successful interview, that is under Yashpal Guy group, some of our politicians from Rift Valley went to Mzee Moi. Akasema, mzee, hii ni nini umetuletea? Mzee anasema ni nini? Ati kwani Rift Valley tutarepresentiwa na mwanamke? But that gentleman stood his ground. He said, kama walifanya interview, mimi sitaki kujua. Amepita, akaambiwa she was number 1 in the interview. And Amos Wako confirmed that I was the best in the interview. So I was taken. And that's where we now struggled. We started by going to the ground. We were 15 in number, but before that, issues came that, of course, there was another group, the civil society, that was left out.
Despite all these struggles, women like Dr. Edda Gashukia did not give up. Dr. Edda Gashukia is a Kenyan educationist, entrepreneur, and co-founder of the Riara group of schools that includes Riara University. She narrates how she kept the faith and fought for women's representation despite the hurdles, and even led a women's delegation to Mexico.
Today I can say I'm happy I didn't resign. Yeah, that's when you subject yourself to being called names and who are you fighting for and all that kind of thing. You know how men feel offended, especially if they didn't get on with their wives. They take it out on you. Yeah, that is the only time I felt disadvantaged in Parliament. But we had other women. We had Honorable Dr. Julia Ojambo, who was an assistant minister. She was my classmate in high school. There was Phoebe Asio. There was Grace Onyango, of course. She was a veteran. She was deputy speaker and very authoritative and a woman to admire any day of the week. I think there was another one because we were that is the fourth. And that you know, with a few more, more of us, I think I felt a little more comfortable because these are people I could call together. I was no longer too young to convene anything. I was also happy to work with them because then they would help me with their constituency issues affecting women and children.
As mentioned by Dr. Edda Gashukia, women like Honorable Phoebe Asio have been firm and defiant in voicing women's issues in Parliament. For instance, in the presentation of the affirmative action in 1997, she used the analogy growing horns to refer to horns of development rather than backing off. She recalls,
I remember one of them saying, oh, you woman, you want these women to grow horns. And I said, yes, horns of peace and development, that's not a bad idea. But it didn't work. My emotion was very badly defeated.
as young women, we need to take part in building each other's individual capacity to push the agenda for women economic empowerment and increase women political representation, as Dr. Ida Odinga envisions.
We want to see more women coming for these seats, particularly the young women. Like if you look at the members of parliament, it's composed of very many young men. Now, I would like to see the young women also venturing in that position. Because otherwise, in future, we'll still have this imbalance of more men versus women.
Dr. Ida Odinga is a Kenyan educator, businesswoman, and activist. She's the wife to the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, the former Prime Minister of Kenya.
Political parties should go and identify every political party we know in this country. They have what they call Women Congress or Women Wing or Women whatever. Those chairs of Women Congress, Women Wing, when they should talk to the bigger party to try to influence them to get more women to vie for these seats. But the women must also come. Nobody's going to come to your kitchen to look for you. People would not know that you exist, and you exist until you come out and vie for these seats.
Women must reclaim their place as equal human beings where their knowledge, experiences, and worldview finds their way into shaping the future of their nation, our nation, for the benefit of all. This can be achieved when they come together, set aside their differences, and work together as one. For women, therefore, negotiating a covenant, that is, their covenant with society, which has for centuries not accorded them their place as equal members, but instead placed them in the margin when it comes to power and decision making, and treated them as children of a lesser God. A covenant which they need to reclaim their place as equal members in society.